Best 35mm film SLR cameras, Part B, autofocus cameras. In Part A of this video series, I introduced the best manual focus 35mm SLR cameras. Today, we continue with Part B, the best autofocus 35mm SLR cameras. Section 1. Best professional 35mm autofocus SLR cameras. Canon EOS 1V. When it comes to autofocus SLR cameras, the best is Canon. Before 1986, Nikon dominated the professional SLR market with its manual focus cameras. Since Minolta introduced autofocus technology in 1985, major camera makers realized that autofocus age had come. Minolta and Canon abandoned their traditional lens mounts and developed new lens mounts in order to suit the needs for autofocus technology. Nikon, however, kept its original F-mount from its manual focus SLR, partially because its manual focus SLR dominated the professional market. It's hard to estimate how much damage it would cause to its professional market if Nikon had changed its lens mount. Canon and Minolta, however, did not have this concern because their share in the professional SLR market is not that big. They don't have that much to lose. Canon developed a completely new EF lens mount for its EOS autofocus SLR system, which later proved to be a great success. Canon's every generation of autofocus SLR cameras is superior to Nikon's same generation cameras. EOS 1V was released in year 2000 and is Canon's last and best 35mm film SLR. Canon's previous generations of professional SLRs, EOS 1 and EOS 1N, have certain weak points such as electronic issues. EOS 1V solved these issues and became a near-perfect professional tool. EOS 1V's continuous shooting speed is unparalleled. This is important because the major users of EOS 1V are photojournalists and sports photographers. Canon's autofocus lenses are also unparalleled thanks to its large lens mount and ultrasonic motor technology. The majority of professional photographers choose Canon EOS 1V as their camera. This is fact, not opinion. Canon EOS 1V is the best professional 35mm SLR camera. Honorary mention: Nikon F6. Nikon F6 was released 4 years later than Canon EOS 1V. There is no doubt that F6 has some advantages over EOS 1V. However, when we talk about professional cameras, we are talking about a camera system, including lenses and accessories, not just the camera body alone. Nikon F6 is a fantastic camera, and Nikon's effort is surely appreciated. However, genetically, Nikon's F-mount limited its development. Nikon just couldn't compete with Canon in shooting speed and some other areas. In fact, Nikon F5 is a fantastic camera and is superior to Canon EOS 1N in many ways. However, F5 couldn't make the majority of professional photographers switch back to Nikon. It is the system, not the camera body alone, that matters to professionals. By the time Nikon released F6 in 2004, we had entered into digital age. Professionals switched from film cameras to digital cameras. Nikon F6 is Nikon's swan song of 35mm film SLR. Having said that, if you are a Nikon DSLR user, you should certainly consider Nikon F6 as the best film camera, because F6 shares the same lens mount with Nikon DSLR cameras. Section 2. Best Advanced Amateur 35mm Autofocus SLR. Canon EOS 3. Canon EOS 3 was released in 1998 and can be considered as a prelude of EOS 1V. EOS 3 is slightly less featured than EOS 1V, such as continuous shooting speed, focusing speed, maximum flash sync speed, viewfinder field coverage, and customizable functions. These functions may not be that important to a non-professional photographer. EOS 3 has an extra feature of eye-controlled autofocus. EOS 3 is also lighter than EOS 1V. Honorary mention: Nikon F100. Nikon F100 was released in 1999 and was widely considered as a compact version of F5. Advanced amateurs as well as professionals love it because it is lighter than the mighty F5 and keeps most of the features of F5. Like F5, F100 is compatible with most of Nikon lenses, including old manual focus lenses and newer G lenses that work for DSLRs. Its user interface is also similar to DSLRs such as D700. It is the last and most powerful non-professional 35mm SLR from Nikon. However, F100 is not perfect. Its film door latch is made of plastic and prone to break. You should be careful when open and close the film door. Minolta Maxim 7. Minolta Maxim 7 is the last and most advanced 35mm SLR from Minolta. Maxim 7 was released after its professional model Maxim 9 and is technologically more advanced than Maxim 9, though it is not a professional-grade camera. Some of the features of Maxim 7 resembles Sony digital cameras because Minolta was later acquired by Sony. Maxim 7 developed some electronic issues after long-term use. Section 3. Best Amateur 35mm Autofocus SLR. Canon EOS Elan 7. Canon EOS Elan 7 was released in year 2000. It is also called EOS 30 in some other countries. It is the best amateur 35mm autofocus SLR. An improved version of EOS 7N or EOS 30V was released in 2004, but was not produced in large quantity. In addition, an eye-controlled focus version, EOS Elan 7E, was available at the same time. Elan 7 is based on the previous Elan and Elan 2, which were also hugely successful. Elan 7 was the best-selling amateur camera. Remember, all EOS film cameras can take Canon DSLR lenses because they share the same lens mount. EOS 7 has most of the features a serious photographer needs. However, its viewfinder is relatively small and dark when compared to EOS 3. Be careful with its plastic film door latch and plastic battery door hinge, which are prone to break. Honorary mention: Nikon N80. Nikon N80 is also called F80 in countries outside America. Early Nikon autofocus SLR was about a half generation behind Canon in terms of new technology. Nikon N80 was released in year 2000, the same year with Canon EOS Elan7, and they are comparable in terms of features. Nikon N80 is smaller and lighter with a cleaner interface than Elan7. N80 has spot metering while Elan7 does not have it. Elan7 has mirror lockup while N80 does not have it. N80 is the best-selling amateur SLR for Nikon users. One drawback of N80 is its plastic film door latch, which is prone to break. Here is a summary of the best 35mm autofocus SLR cameras. You may have noticed that I didn't list a best entry-level camera. Autofocus cameras are electronic cameras. The electronic elements used in entry-level cameras are generally cheap and don't last long. After 30 years or more, the electronics in most entry-level autofocus cameras have aged and are prone to problems. For this reason, I recommend buying mid to high-level electronic cameras. Section 4. Other good 35mm autofocus SLR cameras. When SLR cameras entered autofocus age, there are not many manufacturers competing with each other. There are only three major players: Canon, Nikon, and Minolta. Pentax has developed some autofocus SLRs, but they are far behind the other three brands in terms of performance and quality. I don't recommend any Pentax autofocus SLRs because they are not only technologically behind, but also not reliable. They tend to have various defects after long-term use. Canon made the best autofocus SLRs, both professional models and amateur models. Besides the above-mentioned models, there are a few other excellent ones. EOS 1N. If you think EOS 1V is too expensive, EOS 1N is an alternative professional model. It is the model right before 1V and is also extremely popular among professional photographers. EOS A2 or A2E, also called EOS 5 and 5E in some other countries. This is an advanced amateur camera with impressive features. However, its build quality is not up to expectation. EOS Rebel T2 or KISS 7 in some other countries. This is an entry-level 35mm SLR, the last and most advanced model from Canon. It is tiny and extremely light because it is built of plastic. Just don't expect longevity from it though. Nikon F4. Nikon F4 is the world's first professional autofocus SLR. Nikon had to keep its hardcore manual focus camera users in mind at that time. When autofocus technology was introduced in 1985, the majority of professional photographers didn't trust autofocus. Therefore, F4 was made not only to be compatible with manual focus lenses, but also have traditional interface such as knobs and dials instead of LCD screens and menus found in modern cameras. Its autofocus technology is primitive and can't compete with even an entry-level camera of today. However, if you don't mind this, f4 is an extremely powerful and reliable camera. Nikon f5. Nikon f5 is a huge improvement over f4 and kept quite an amount of professional photographers from switching to Canon. It is the only 35mm SLR camera having integrated vertical grip. It is built like a tank and is the most rugged autofocus camera. Its autofocus and metering capabilities are superb. Nikon N90S, also called F90X in some other countries. This is a semi-professional camera before f100. Even though it lacks some technological features found in f100, it is still very powerful. It doesn't have the problem of potential film door latch break found in f100, because the film door latch of N90S is made of metal. Minolta Maxxum 9. Maxxum 9 is an excellent professional camera. It is the only professional SLR with a built-in flash. It has a steel shell or titanic alloy shell in the 9T model. However, Minolta did not offer sufficient amount of professional-grade lenses and accessories. Therefore, Maxxum 9 did not gain significant professional recognition. Besides, Maxxum 9 suffers from plastic grip crack. About 10% of Maxxum 9 found in eBay have the grip plastic crack issue. At the end of this video, I would like to repeat that different people have different standards for the best cameras. Almost any camera can get the job done if you know what you are doing. And the camera is not just a photographic tool, it can be a man's toy. Any particular camera can be the best camera once you have a special feeling of it. If your favorite camera is not mentioned here, that's totally understandable and I cannot argue with you. Thank you for watching this video.